I think this is not only obviously the biggest fight of Terence Crawford's career, but in a career that's filled with almost nothing but huge fights, this is the biggest fight of Canelo Alvarez's career.
A lot stronger, and I think he's going to have better endurance. Not being able to boil himself down like that, and even though it is a huge jump, I think we lose sight of the fact of how much he had to boil down and how gaunt he looked at 140.
You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
Well, you know how to box. When you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
As the highly anticipated clash between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford approaches, Max Kellerman has shared his final take on the matchup. Serving on Netflix's elite broadcast team for this blockbuster event, Kellerman delivers his trademark sharp analysis and historical insight, framing what many expect to be one of boxing's most significant showdowns.
A great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. Okay. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. Kellerman isn't mincing words, labeling the Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford clash as the most watched championship fight in nearly half a century. He draws a parallel to the legendary Muhammad Ali-Leon Spinks rematch in 1978, which drew an astonishing 90 million viewers. According to Kellerman, Netflix's involvement elevates this bout beyond a standard blockbuster, marking a seismic shift in boxing's reach and business model, with viewership expected to far surpass traditional pay-per-view numbers.
But where would you rank this fight out of your top 3 to 5 of all the boxing fights you've called, you've experienced, you've watched?
In terms of the magnitude of the fight?
Yeah, the magnitude, yeah.
I mean, of the fights that I've called ringside, it might turn out to be number 1. I've done Pacquiao fights, I've done Mayweather fights, I've done Anthony Joshua against Klitschko, those are big fights, but this will, listen, because of Netflix, this will be the most watched fight, championship fight, in almost 50 years. This is going to be because Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks in the rematch in '78, and they did 90 million TV sets. 90 million. And since then, what has even come close? The biggest fights have all been on pay-per-view, and they do 2 million buys. Oh my God, 4 million buys, Mayweather Pacquiao. As I keep saying, if 5 people per TV set watch, that's 20 million people. This is going to do multiples of that. So when you look at it from a commercial point of view, it'll easily be the biggest boxing event I've ever covered.
At a recent press conference, fight promoter Dana White confirmed that Max Kellerman will return to the broadcast booth as part of Netflix's official commentary. Team for the highly anticipated Canelo Alvarez. This is Terence Crawford showdown on September 13th, 2025. The veteran analyst, celebrated for his work with ESPN and HBO, will join John Anik and Hall of Famer Andre Ward to call the action live from Allegiant Stadium. Marking a major comeback to televised boxing, Kellerman described the event as the perfect storm and praised both fighters as generational talents. He noted that while Canelo Alvarez was long regarded as the sport's pound-for-pound king, Terence Crawford now has his vote for the top spot. Highlighting the rarity of such a matchup, Kellerman emphasized that only about 25 to 30 fighters in history have ever been considered true pound-for-pound greats, making this clash between two men in that elite category a historic occasion.
I want to bring up the first member of our broadcast team. He is the best boxing analyst in the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Kellerman.
All right, so I know you guys are excited about this fight, but I don't think you understand what a big deal it is. This is a perfect storm, a perfect storm. First of all, Turki Al-Sheikh, we're lucky he happens to be a boxing fan. None of this happens if he doesn't happen to be a boxing fan. It's just none of us are here. Nick Khan, the best in the business. Dana White. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter of my lifetime. And it's his first ever boxing promotion. So that's who's behind what you're going to see. You know who's the best pound for pound fighter in the world? The most recent one. Bud Crawford. Apologies to the monster and Usyk. Bud Crawford has my vote for best pound for pound. Who was the best pound for pound before Bud? Canelo Alvarez, universally recognized that way. But it's not just these two guys, the last two best pound for pound fighters in the world. There haven't been that many. Before Canelo, who do you have? Before Canelo, Floyd or Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather. Before, you could take the lineage back. There have only been, I don't know, 25 or 30 fighters who ever lived who you said that's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. These are two of them, the last two. And they're going to fight in Las Vegas on September 13th. Canelo is 62-2 with 2 draws, 62-2. So was Marvin Hagler when Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to fight him, and they produced one of the biggest spectacles in the history of boxing. This fight is a perfect storm. I could not be more excited to be a part of it.
Timothy Bradley Jr. predicts that the opening round of Canelo versus Crawford won't deliver fireworks, but instead play out like a tactical chess match. He believes both fighters will take a cautious approach, avoiding reckless exchanges as they study each other's rhythm, timing, and distance. Bradley points out that Crawford is known for pacing himself in big fights, patiently setting traps, while Canelo typically uses the early rounds to size up his opponent and make adjustments. As a result, Bradley suggests fans should expect a measured first round, with both men gathering critical information before intensifying the action in the later stages.
Feel his punching power as well. In the beginning, it's all the position balance. Like both guys are trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm, understanding their distance to where they can punch and at the same time avoid getting hit. It takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo to get right to it. Canelo, although he is a prolific counterpuncher, fantastic counterpuncher, he tends to find his spots a lot quicker, and the indication of that is when, if you look at any of the boxers that Canelo has faced, Trout, even Danny Jacobs, even when he fought against Charlo, you just check out the first round. He usually takes off, just feels the power, cruises, see what these guys know, couple of feints, level changes, gathering information, right? Crawford does the same and similar things. So I think the first round is going to be a real calm and cautious round by both fighters. But in the second round, Canelo's going to start applying that pressure, man. Pre-engagement with Crawford is a little bit more difficult than a Charlo, okay? And let me explain this. So pre-engagement is the movements before you get into that sweet spot, which is mid-range, to be able to let your hands go, right? Both guys are trying to counter each other movement. Both guys are looking at each other's, hands, trying to anticipate what they believe is going to come next. During those periods right there, Crawford is one of the best at it, okay? Because he's smart, he's cerebral. Like a fighter to a fighter, we can feel when another fighter is like, oh, he's on my rhythm.
WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson remains firm in his conviction that Bud Crawford will defeat Canelo, potentially even stopping him. Stevenson has consistently highlighted Crawford's elite skill set, pointing to his speed, ring IQ, and southpaw stance as clear advantages. He's gone so far as to say Crawford will cook Canelo, suggesting a dominant and possibly one-sided display. Having first voiced this prediction back in 2021, Stevenson has only doubled down since, insisting that Crawford's precision and adaptability make him not just a worthy challenger, but the most logical pick to win this high-stakes showdown.